Hello.
Hello, it's recording. Yay.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So my cross ocean buddy, book buddy, book bestie. We're gonna talk
Welcome,
about
welcome.
Can you? Yes, you can. The
Oh,
dark
you got a
stuff.
nice cover. Is it like it's not paperback? It's actually hardback, isn't it? The one you have.
Yeah, it's the
It's
heart
really pretty.
and
I
the
couldn't find hardback here. I took it secondhand because I couldn't find it in Waterstone here. So
this is I borrowed it from the public libraries.
library.
Yeah,
Oh, that's why it has nice plastic cover on it, plastic wrap.
exactly. Yeah, the plastic wrap is from that.
Yeah.
Um,
No, unfortunately, mine is a little bit damaged. The dust jacket is a little bit damaged, but it's a very beautiful cover, I have to
I
say,
love this. I think the whole book
right?
turns around this thing.
The portrait of Maeve. Yeah, we will
Yeah.
talk about that inside when we start dissecting our opinions of this book. But let's just start from the aesthetic of it. I
Okay.
know this book was out, it was published in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
so that kind of explains why I couldn't find a new copy of the hardback.
Yeah.
But the beautiful design of the portraits outside and the aesthetic in the back reminds you of kind of old rich houses back from I don't know the 50s or 60s. You know those vases like the Asian vase that have these
Yeah.
kind of reminiscent arts on
So
it. It's a very
I think
beautiful, calming
let's see that. Let's
vibe.
see. The I think we have different backs.
Yeah, you have the American and I have the UK version. So it's even cool for the people to see the difference in
Yeah.
the dust jackets between the two of them. So the one you have, how's the back of the one you have?
So the back
So
is
it's
just a continuity of the
of the
portrait.
portrait from
Yeah,
the
without
birds.
Maeve.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
wherever Maeve was here, so they put the summary and praise there. Praise
Yeah,
actually.
mine is like I said, mine is like the old art you find on like vases and stuff in old mansions. So
Oh, I
I
love
like it.
the blue.
Not bad. The blue is so nice. Yeah.
That speaks loads about your social status in Tunisia, for example, if you own that.
And Libya as well. Yeah. I think it was like it's a generational thing. Like
Yeah.
if you have, vases that have that kind of vibe on it, you're kind of a high society type of
Mm,
thing.
yeah.
Am I right? Which
And
is
there,
plays in the
yeah,
theme of the book.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
how is the book inside? Or you cannot remove the dust jacket?
No, I can't because I mean, I can tell you,
Is it
it,
blue?
yeah, it's just
Because mine is blue,
purple,
which is
gray,
unusual.
purple and gray. And that's it.
Really?
Yeah. And nothing
Oh.
else. There is nothing. I bet there is the title and that's it.
Yeah, mine is pretty much like the same blue from the back of the
Mm,
dust jacket, and you got like the silver on the spine of the book.
I
But
think
it's kind of
that,
unusual. Most books like black. Usually the hard books are like black inside.
yeah, I think they use the these colors inside, like this
Yeah.
color.
Ah, from the birds and the flowers. All
Yep,
right. It's really beautiful.
it
It's
is.
really pretty.
Yeah, and let's go deep in and
Yeah, let's start with the author before we go deep in. I would say
okay.
let's start with the author since we started with the cover of the book.
Now the
I would
author.
say let's start with the author. This is the first time I read anything by Ann Patchett,
Hmm.
and honestly, before the Tome Lake, I think it's called, I read that in like the New York Times Best 100 of the Century books, and that's what got sparked my interest in her. I've seen the books in like Waterstones and bookshops, but I never picked up, like I said,
Yeah.
just general fiction is not my thing. I'm more of a fantasy girl. But she really sparked my interest, and this book was very highly acclaimed, and that's kind of why we picked it for our club.
You know what's
But
interesting is that
mm,
historic fiction is my thing, and you're the
exactly, I
one
thought
who
it
likes
would place
books.
for you.
I love that. We're switching in this club. Yeah.
That's kind of the point of a club.
Yeah.
I like being in a club because I like your recommendation because there's something I would never pick up. And my recommendation, I imagine something you will never pick up. Like Fourth Wing,
Yeah.
for example. Was that something you would go for?
I
Dragons?
would never in a million years think that I would pick up that book to read. But
Right?
you turned me, you converted me into a big Empyrean fan.
Wait until we go into Sarah J. Maas. You are so late to the party, but I cannot wait to go on that journey with you. And we do the Akatar
Oh,
girly
yes.
thingy. That would be fun,
Okay.
introducing you to that. So let's go back. So Anne, I believe she's an American author.
Mm-hmm.
She
Born in.
authored 7 novels, now 8, I suppose. 3 works of nonfiction. She has been shortlisted for Orange Prize for fiction 3 times. The
Mm-hmm.
Magician Assistant in '89, winning the prize with Bill Canto in 2002. I heard a lot of good things about that book, but it never came to me as something I would read. Maybe we should put it on our list at some point.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I
And was
love
most,
writing.
yeah, I mean, overall, I was very pleasantly surprised. Let's do like general
Mm,
vibe check. I was very pleasantly surprised. I was worried that I will be bored,
mm,
because I am at my era where I DNF anything that I just cannot bear continue. I'll just DNF it.
yeah, I
Bye
know.
bye book if I'm not interested. And I was very, very pleasant because I was worried. I came into this book thinking, it's a book about an old house. What did I do? Why did I pick this one? And when it
Mm,
started, I was like, God, what did I get myself into? But then the writing, the way it flew,
mhm.
and it's just so effortless.
Yeah.
It was beautiful and effortless. Either if you read it in a physical book or even listening to it. By the way, shout out to Tom Hanks for the brilliant narration of the audiobook.
Did you hear that? Did you listen to him? And
Yeah.
all of the his voice going in and out in those characters and the
I mean,
narration.
Tom Hanks is a brilliant actor to begin with, but put him plus such a great writing. Because at the beginning, when I suggested this book, I thought, oh, this time I'm only going to do an audiobook.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go and buy the actual book. I'm just gonna do an audiobook. I'm gonna take notes, and that's gonna be it. But because Tom Hanks' performance plus the way the writing itself, it was so beautiful. I went running trying to find the book, the physical book. I'm
Say,
guessing the same thing happened to you, isn't it?
remember, I told you that, okay, this is a good selection. I like historical fiction. And they had, the title is misleading. It's like historical World War II, Dutch, and I don't know where. It's like, these keywords are like appealing to me. And then I was like, okay, let's listen to it. And I developed this idea of listening to a book, and if I like it so much, I would get it.
I'll get the physical book. Same thing,
Yeah,
because I only when we first moved here, I know that I have very limited space. So I
yeah.
promised myself and my husband that I will only buy books that I actually love. So I
Hmm.
would read the books in an e-form or I would listen to it in an audiobook, and if I really, really love it, then I'll buy it in a and I try my best to only collect hard covers
Yeah, me too. I
because they seem to last a bit more than the regular, paperback. But yeah, I mean, Tom Hanks is the one who sold me on going buying the physical copy. It's such a beautiful book. And there were so many memorable lines that I was like, I need to put a little bit of stickers.
Oh, I love that. I mean, I borrowed this book, but I think I'm buying it from the library actually. Um,
Really? They let you buy from libraries. That's new.
our library let us buy from them, and it's actually like let's do this little thing about the library. I love it so much. They give you in the receipt when you borrow books the actual value of what you would have spent in a
In a
bookshop,
bookshop.
and it's like
Oh, that's
and what
nice.
you would have spent since you started borrowing. It's like basically I have hundreds of dollars of books that I would have paid money for, and some of the books that I would not finish reading. And it
Yeah, DNF, yeah.
yeah, it would have been really bad if I bought them and did not finish them. And speaking of space, I think our husbands are gonna relate so much to this conversation. Like, we can't have that many books.
But yeah, no, I try my best to search for hardcovers and I try my best to buy them secondhand
Yeah, I like that.
because A, it's a tad bit cheaper.
Mm.
Um, B, I feel like I'm saving a book by buying it secondhand if I can help it.
Yeah, I like to buy new books. Um, I used to have
Of
this
authors I
idea.
really love. If
Yeah,
it's
and I
a
like to
first
have,
print, if it's a special edition, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. And I like to have this, like, buy a new book and have the author sign it for
Sign
me.
it.
I love that.
Oh,
But I
that's
used to
nice.
do that when I was in Tunis, when I had more of a social life. Here in the US, nah.
You have a toddler. There's
Nah.
no such a, you're a mom now. Welcome to the club. There's no such thing as social life. You have
That's why I
fictional
read
ones.
more.
Exactly. That's why you have fictional ones.
Exactly. And more fiction. I used to
No, honey.
less fiction.
But anyhow, let's get back to our book. So I have a few notes. Actually, I
Mm.
need to pull up because
Fine.
we finished that book. We finished it in early December,
We
and
finished it in December, yeah.
I think we finished it in early December, and we didn't get the chance because the holidays and everything. We didn't get the
Yeah.
chance to have our talk about it yet. Um, the first thing that grabbed me to this book, the idea that there is no a hero or a villain. They're just people living their life. It's the history of that house as a focal point.
Mhm.
The idea of memory and its power to shape our perspective, our perception of the past and the present.
Mm.
And I find that quite interesting because again, like I said, fantasy girl here. I don't really do
Fiction. And it,
fiction, historical fiction in particular, because I find historical fiction really difficult for me. But this book was just really beautiful, and the way Anne describes the house is so vivid.
you
You
can
feel
see
like
you can
you've
see
been
it.
there. You can see it.
And then you feel like, well, yeah, I don't want to jump in, but like when the house comes back in the book, you feel like you're back home with them, right? That's
Yep,
the
yeah.
type of
Even
feeling it
when they
becomes.
even when they stay in the car in a driveway and just look at the house from the outside, I find that very nostalgic. So yeah, the house as a focal point and everything that happens to it and how a family gain wealth, lost that wealth and gain it again and how it came full circle. But I don't want to jump. So just a heads up to anybody who will be watching this. This is going to be very spoiler heavy. There's an actual thing about it that we can call spoilers because it is events, it's historical events in that family's history, or those siblings, Maeve and Danny, and how life literally chew them, but they go back on their feet and everything. So I'm gonna take like the first part, and you go,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right. So the first thing, like when we see those siblings as children in that big house alone, my first instinct was the dad because the mom left and the dad was I don't know. My first impression was the dad was the bad guy. But then the more I think about it, the more I realize he wasn't really a bad guy. He was just a man, a product of his time, because it was the 50s.
Yeah.
60s kind of era. And you still have that super tradition of men's role versus women's role.
Mm-hmm.
And how the mom was such a free spirit, she could not stand the house, so she left, which to me it was very baffling. But, again, I thought maybe it's related to mental health or something, and those things were not discussed at that time period.
Yeah.
And the dad had to take over, but he didn't really take over. He let the servant take over, and
Mm.
how he neglected Maeve in favor of Danny because Danny was the boy who was going to
Yeah.
inherit everything,
Teaching him everything at a young age, doing
teaching him
all
how to be
those
a
things,
man. Yeah,
collecting
exactly. And
rent with him.
collecting the rent and seeing how his dad interacts with the tenants, and
Mm.
how, especially in that incident when the dad took the sick child of one of the tenants who could not pay rent. That made me think, okay, so this man is not really the villain of the story. He's just a product of his time
Mm.
who needed to be a
That's
man's man, who needed, the women to know their place. And he was not happy that his wife left, and he felt like it reflected on him as a husband, even though he gave her everything, that big house and the money.
yeah.
But in reality, he did not really stop for a second to consider his wife's feelings.
He did not ask her about the house, whether she
He
would
did
like
not
it
ask,
or
it
not.
just surprised her. He
It
just
was a
drove
done
her
deal.
in.
Yeah, a done
He
deal.
just
You're
drove her
living
in, and
here.
he's like, "Yeah, this is our house now. Live with it."
It's a done deal. You have to live with it, and you have to live in here and live in this new rich life, and that's it.
With the raccoons in the ballroom.
Yeah. Oh my God. I felt like I was sitting with them there.
Honestly, I felt the pain of the dad's knee every time Danny was describing why would and asking the question, why would a man with a bad knee will buy a house with so many stairs?
Yeah.
And I would be like, oh shit, that's true. Why would he do that? And then when the more you think about it, it is because it's a symbol of his success. He came from nothing. He came from a poor neighborhood in New York, and he managed to get into real estate. And he now has a beautiful family, a wife and two kids, and he needs to a symbol of that wealth, and that house was that symbol.
Yeah, but then also when you move, like go further in the book and how Fluffy would describe him meeting up with the son of the previous owners. It's like he was entrusted the house, kind of what I felt. Later on, when he served in the war, he met
Yeah,
the son of the Van Hoebeek. Oh
Van
my
Hove.
God, Van Hoebeek, the Van Hoebeek. So
I
he met the
know.
son, and the son talked about the house. I think
Yeah,
why particularly that Dutch house and no other house that would be expensive and a sign of wealth. I think because he felt entrusted of the memory of that family, and he kept everything as is in the house.
true. I didn't think about that. That's so true. Because yeah, they kept the Van Hove portrait up.
Yeah,
Even when they tried, so we get to the another kind of main event, which is the commission of the portrait,
yeah,
when they say that the dad brought the artist from Philadelphia just to paint the mom and to replace the lady of the manor kind of portrait,
yeah.
and then the painter to paint the dad so they can replace both.
Mm,
And instead, because the mom refused to
mm,
sit for a week for the artist and could not stand the idea of her 7 foot
yeah.
portrait being hanged in that house for all eternity, she bailed. So the dad says, I'm not doing it either. And Maeve ended up stuck doing
Fix
that portrait,
something with that.
which is this one on the cover in that red. I mean, it's kind of nice because like at the end of the book, you get kind of Maeve, a bit more of Maeve point of view talking about that period
Yeah.
of her and the artist bonding, and she said, I was in love with him because I spent so much time with him.
And she's
And
like
how
a
he told her,
little
go and get
girl.
anything red. Yeah.
Speaking of that, Maeve never had in the like I don't know how many pages we read. She was not interested in marrying. She was not interested in any relationship. Felt like
I always found that a bit strange. I thought she's gonna end up marrying maybe her employer or marrying that lawyer Gooch who is very interested in her.
yeah, both of
Um,
them.
but I think maybe it's like part of she felt responsible for Danny. She is
Even
practically
when Danny
his mom.
married. No, I
Yeah,
don't.
she felt like maybe when Danny married, again, we need to put into perspective the time period. During like 60s, 70s, still like women, even in 90s, if you are over, 35, 40s, there were people still look at you as someone,
As a
a
spinster.
little bit too old, yes,
Yeah.
spinster, too old to have kids. So, and she had such a strong will. She's like, I'm not gonna diminish my personality in favor of having a husband and children. I am who I am, unapologetic, and I love that about her.
That
And
that part is so much her mom.
yeah,
So
but it's still her mom. She liked being a saint, but she did not like responsibility of taking care of her family, which makes no sense to me. While Maeve took care of everybody
hmm
and took all the responsibility after her dad died and left them with nothing. And even though she took everybody's responsibility, she didn't take responsibility for herself
two
because the
things.
way she died.
Nah, I don't think that. Okay, so two
She
things.
didn't take care of herself. I mean, I love that they have someone with diabetes as a diabetes patient myself, someone with diabetes in this book being a main character. That's awesome. I don't see that a lot in books in general.
That's true. Yeah, we don't see that type of. I mean, yeah, yeah. This is a
And
very
diabetes in those days were something you need to even take extra care because you don't have any of the bells and whistles and technology that we have now,
yeah,
but you still knew the danger of it.
yeah. So going back to, I think she grew up faster because of
Yeah,
that
because the
her mom
responsibility.
responsibility. And when you have that type of responsibility on you, you really don't want to add the burden of, like you said, entertaining a whole human being in your life, other than what she already had, her brother. But even when
Yep.
he got married, it felt like it was too late for her to accommodate someone else in her life. Being a spinster or like old that or not able to bear kids and stuff like that, children, I think it was mostly a matter of it was easy for her that way.
Mm.
We don't know if she had, because this is Danny's version. We don't know if
This
she,
is Danny's version of events, yeah.
we don't know
But I
if
think
she
she
had,
must have had a couple of lovers, that's for sure.
yeah,
Because like all those years where Danny was in med school, which
yeah.
that was a whole thing to send someone to med school out of spite just to drain a fund. I love that.
So
That
yeah,
was
this is
so Maeve. That was so Maeve.
so her, and that she's very different from her mom. So she was
Yeah.
like mom in the way of like being a hermit, trying to take care of the poor and doing all of that extra work and working for nothing, basically helping Danny with his businesses and stuff. But I think the whole thing of her sending him to medical school, and what you said, the dad left nothing. Actually, the dad was wealthy and had a lot of things.
But he left everything
He
for
never,
Andrea, which brings us, I didn't
he
want to go
never
ahead
thought
like
Andrea
some.
would let go of the kids, right?
Well, honestly, that's another thing that kind of made me on the fence about the dad. He married Andrea out of convenience and
Yeah.
because and sheer stubbornness because she won't leave. She loved the house so much, she was determined to marry the owner of the house no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he married her out of convenience because he just could not handle the headache.
Yeah.
So for me, that he was a villain for that, for sure. And then he saw the dynamic and how he throw Maeve under the bus to take care of the two little girls, Andrea's children. That
Yeah.
also was not cool. Just because
But
she's a girl does not mean automatically she need to be the caregiver of children she never met before and she doesn't know, and they do not really share any blood ties together except for Andrea being married to his dad.
that's the that's again, that's like you said, the product of their time. I don't think
I
that's
don't know. I
suiting in
mean,
our time anymore.
even if, yeah, but even if you are a stubborn man, you still need to have a little bit of, mm, common sense. You
That's
have children. Children do not get along with other children just because. And you can see that Andrea will not be nice. And he saw the way Andrea was treating Danny
mm.
through the years they were together, the time period they were together. He saw how Andrea was treating Danny and how he literally had to run, take Danny and run to go see Maeve in New York
Oh
because
yeah.
Andrea's like, I want to come with you. You're not going alone. So
Mm.
he knew there was that she was not fond of his children.
Yeah.
And yet he entrusted her with everything, everything.
That's
That was like
really bad.
baffling to me.
That's really bad. Um, I think he did not understand what was happening. What would
I
happen.
was, yeah, what would happen if he died? And I don't think he expected that he will die the way he died anyway.
Yeah. It's sad. I mean, yeah, we all think that we're lasting forever, but the thing is, the what he did well was
The fund for the
the
education
fund,
fund.
the education fund.
And that was, I don't think that was his suggestion. I think it was the lawyer's suggestion, right? Because
No,
the
that
lawyer
was
kept
Andrea's.
saying that he tried to convince the dad to get out of the whole giving Andrea everything.
The
Lawyer
lawyer
Gooch.
tried to, and Andrea suggested that he does that fund, education fund for
Really?
her girls, not for Danny. But he was like, "Yeah, we'll do it
Uh,
for everyone."
I don't remember that part. Okay.
Yeah, he did it
All
for.
I remember is Maeve being super competitive and deciding like Danny's gonna take it all.
I mean, they took everything else. They took lots
Yeah,
of
no,
money.
I understood that. To be honest, I thought Maeve would fight a bit harder and like take Andrea to court or something.
Yeah, but they were, I think, well mannered for that.
I suppose, and maybe the lawyer told her like you don't have much of a choice here. So
Yeah,
maybe that's also another thing, but I kind of hope that Andrea would have, you know, giving them something. Like she won't even let them come back to pick up the rest of their stuff.
crazy. But she kept
It's
everything.
crazy. And she kept everything. She was so obsessed with the house. I don't think she kept it because she want their stuff. I think she kept it just out of spite. Because you know how the servant always she fired even the servant just because
Yeah,
they always compared her to the old what's the
the
last name
Van
of that
Hoge,
family?
the Van
No,
Hoge.
no, the Conway.
Mm,
The mother, the saint.
yeah.
Um,
And then you have Fluffy who jumps in the plot later on, and
Fluffy, how she hurts Danny, and then she sleeps with the dad, she hurts Danny, and you got that's very typical nanny behavior, I think.
yeah, and
It's
then
like,
no, she did not know that he was still married. So, and how even? I mean, they were Catholic, so there is no divorce. How did he
yeah.
divorce the mom, force her for the divorce, and then marry
Uh,
Andrea
Another thing, I
after?
thought Maeve will take Andrea to court just on the premise that her dad never really divorced her mom, so the second marriage should not have stand.
Yeah,
I thought she would
exactly.
have had like a very legal way to get her money back.
There was legal ground for that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
totally.
don't.
So I was like, you don't just leave all that money, especially if they were struggling so much.
Other than struggling, it's like it's everything their dad worked for and raised them in a way that that's gonna be their future. She studied accounting for that, to be the accounting person for the family. He not studied, but
He
he
un he
was
underst
so
he under the
immersed.
dad underestimated Maeve every step of the way.
That's
And honestly, he paid for it, and he paid for it.
maybe
That
that's.
man,
Hmm.
oh God.
But in a little bit we will have to pause and then come back. But the the whole Maeve thing, like smart. Um, I don't know, a smart young lady, yet she's very responsible. She's not like not that in her youth, living her life, and that's it. Um, she did not do a whole scene about her room being taken of while she was gone.
But she did it at the end. But it was very clear that she was holding a grudge about the room because, like, at the end, when they went back, her
Yeah.
mom and Danny, they went back to the house and she found the stepsister and she's like, "Oh, this is the one that took my room, the one with the window seats." Like,
Yeah.
it was very clear she was still holding a grudge about that.
Of course,
And
I
I
mean,
felt that, to be honest. I would have held a
I
grudge
felt
about it as
sorry
well.
for her. I felt sorry. I would not want to leave my house, my family house, and then come back and then find somebody took my stuff away to another place without even consulting.
Another sign the dad was an idiot because the dad right in front of
I
him,
know.
Andrea did that and he still gave her everything.
I think there were signs of Andrea not going to be nice to the kids, yet he was naive
Yeah,
or
I don't know about naive, I just
not and
I don't know.
not cautious enough.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because
It
he
was
has
bugging me the entire book.
the knee issue. He has health conditions, and yet he kept building high buildings. It's not only the house that he bought, but the buildings that he kept building, the
Yeah,
and then going there in the heat and then expecting you to survive with all of those conditions.
I know. It's
And
weird.
then
Like I
the
said, the
whole
way he died is just
the whole scene of
tragic.
him dying, the whole that whole chapter where they talk about him and how they were kids. They did not have the sense of calling Andrea first, and so for that she
And
hold it
even
against her.
Andrea's reaction when she walks into the kitchen and she sees him cry and like who died and her first thing is like where's my girls because she never thought about her husband.
Yeah,
Her first thought like oh where's my girls. Her husband was a secondary thought, so that tells me she didn't really care that much.
yeah.
She cared
She-
about how it looked on the outside that they didn't tell her, how it looked in front of the neighbors and the community, but not really about the husband dying.
And then how she was like that. Their union was so questioned. Like, she disdained them because they were Catholic and going to church every Sunday. So yeah, she disdained the fact that they go to church, that they are Catholics, that everything about them. Yet she
But
kept
still, the way she throw Danny out right after the funeral, how she throw him out? He was a boy. He was
15.
underage.
He
Yeah,
was
15, 16. He was underage little boy. She was his legal, technically, she was his legal guardian.
she should have been, but yeah.
No, she was. She was his father's wife, the
Yeah,
owner of everything, and he was under her care, underage boy under her care. I don't know how on earth the lawyer did not tell them to go to the police
it's a
because
different
that would
time.
have been a
Yeah.
child neglect. I even if different time, maybe different laws. I don't know, but still, to me, that looked like a child neglect, and they could have taken her to court for
Yeah.
that as well. Just the fact that they never took her to court is pissing me off.
Well, I felt like that's not okay. That's not, and with Maeve's character, that did not go well. That did not sit well with me.
ماتت بحسرتها. I don't know. So let's jump right into Danny going to Colombia to medical school despite just for his sister to spite his step
Yeah.
mom. For me, that was again funny because I understand the need for vengeance, but
Yeah.
to push your brother to go to medical school and actually finishing medical school, it's just insane to
That's
me.
torture. Like she tortured him,
It's
right?
just, it's so weird. But again, during that time, we get to see Danny and Celeste.
Mm.
And that's like we were talking before, that's the relationship I really do not like. I hated Celeste because to me, she was very schemy Little Women, who insisted on marrying a doctor. She wanted to marry. She was very clear. She it was gonna marry a doctor no matter what.
Even if it's just the title of a doctor, even if it's just that.
Because I feel like that's how she saw an opportunity on that train because they met on the train.
Yeah.
She saw the chemistry book. She was good in chemistry. And she saw how he was such a nice gentleman helping all the old ladies, taking their bags up and down.
Mm.
But also for me, that's where you see the glimpses of his dad's
Yeah.
in him because the way he treated Celeste. Again, I don't like Celeste, but I don't like the way he treated her. Like
He
the
repeated the
way,
same mistakes.
exactly, the way he did not see any of the effort she was putting, for example, in the domestic work. He
Hmm.
only saw it after they broke up. Like, and how the future scared her because again, women in that period, in that era, in that period of time were counting pretty much on getting your basic education, maybe going to college, and then getting married and having kids and staying home. That's it.
Yeah,
And
most.
he did not understand that part of her
He did not understand. He did not do the effort. It was like,
at all. It was so
best of the
lazy.
worst, the the best choice he had, even for dating, not later on, but
No,
the best choice
Maeve
of
told
all
him
of the
he was
bad.
marrying. Yeah, Maeve told him you are literally picking the girl you hate the least among the group of girls you just didn't like
Yeah,
to marry. And to me, that was like, isn't that exactly what his dad did with Andrea?
exactly the same. He repeated, like Maeve repeated the same patterns of her mom, and he repeated the same patterns of his
Of
dad.
his dad. Yeah, exactly.
Same.
Like you got that scene where after they broke up, there was period of time, and then the coach from his high school basketball team died, and he goes to the funeral and he meets Celeste there magically, even though she lives in another town.
Yeah.
To me, I agree with Maeve when she said that was intentional. That was planned.
100%. And that's when you see the different how men and women see things differently.
True, true.
We see certain details that men don't sometimes, and especially in relationships. Oh my God. We tend to be very picky and very like focusing in details as women sometimes, especially if
I,
you dislike the woman in front of you. Like
I
Celeste.
mean, and true. And like I understood because Maeve was very clear that she never liked Celeste. Celeste was always using Maeve as an excuse for any trouble she had with Danny.
Yeah.
And then, like when Danny toward the end of the book, when Danny says after Maeve died, Celeste didn't have anyone else to blame for their
Yeah.
troubles. She took a hard look at me and she recognized that the person and the things she didn't like was actually me, was not
Not
Maeve.
me.
That's
Yeah.
when they got the divorce. And I
Yeah.
was like, dude, if you listen to your sister from the beginning.
But then he did not want to do efforts in the relationship because that was the example he saw. You can't ask more than that from him.
True. I keep wondering because they didn't really touch much about his relationship with his own kids, especially with young May.
Maeve, May.
Yeah, but to me, I think he might have remedied that thing with May because toward the end of the book, their relationship is quite stable. And it looked like it even since she was a kid, even
Mm.
during the divorce. To me, it felt like his relationship with his own kid was very stable. Even it was funny that his son went to medical school.
That's funny. I think that's the impact of Celeste because she married a doctor, regardless of him being in real estate later on. But she married a doctor and she wanted her son to be a doctor. Like her
True.
life was around that. Same as Andrea, same pattern. Like her life was around a title. Andrea, her life was around the Dutch house. And I think there is a lot of similarities between these characters. But one thing he did it differently than his dad completely neglected Maeve. He
He did
stood,
not repeat that. Yeah.
did not repeat that. He stood by his daughter, by May,
Because
alone.
he saw how Maeve was miserable through her entire life, wanting the dad's approval so bad, and I
Mm,
went as far as even like, go and rent in a building that dad does not own,
mm,
just so she can show her dad that she can handle herself.
mm,
And he saw how much she was hurt every time the dad will go and take Danny to go to do that round.
mm,
And she will take Danny later on. She will ask him like, "Tell me everything you and dad did." She
mm,
was living through Danny, and Danny could see that very clearly.
mm, mm.
And I think that kind of impacted his relationship with his own kids, with his own
I'm
daughter.
sure. I'm sure. But let's go back to the when their mom showed up.
I know, through Fluffy of all things. God.
Okay, so all of the basically the second part of the book is ignited by Fluffy's appearance. So Fluffy reappeared in his life and told him the stories that he did not know, and maybe Maeve did not know or did not want to tell him. Um, and what happens is that this Fluffy, there's a weird character that I don't particularly like, but she changed the plot. She changed the whole story. I mean, her appearance
I agree.
changed everything because she brought back memories. She brought back lots of things because at
She
that age,
forced Danny to confront memories and made him think maybe I didn't remember everything the way it really was. It's just from my
yeah,
perspective.
yeah, that's one thing. The other thing is how he entrusted her with his kids. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe because she was in a different place in her life. I mean, okay, this is the thing. She
I
confessed.
was surprised, okay, when he suggested to Celeste that he bring Maeve when Celeste was pregnant, second child. When he to bring Fluffy
Fluffy.
and I then he realized that he never told Celeste about Fluffy and his dad, or that Fluffy
Mm,
was the reason he got the scar.
yes. And
And
also
I was like, yeah,
Fluffy confessed that she took from the jewelry of Mrs. Van Hoebeek, and not only the jewelry that they sold to live as her and Mrs. Van Hoebeek, but after the death of the last Van Hoebeek. So, I mean, I don't know. This is
a very
weird.
weird. Yeah,
Why
me
would
too. I
you
was
let
like,
someone like that back into your life? I mean, yeah, you can sit down and have coffee and listen to a different version of things that you did not know about. I think he was trying to see his mom through a different, like, and understand. I feel that that sense of abandonment was so urging him to understand why his mom left. And so he wanted to revisit their history, but then bring her into your life to have an active role that was too much.
that was weird for me either. I couldn't understand that. But again, I'm guessing everybody, you don't really have like social media, you don't really have way to check people's background the way we have right now. So maybe he just, out of necessity, they needed someone that's not Maeve or her mother
Hmm.
to come and stay with them, take care of young May and take care of very pregnant Celeste, who
Hmm.
has high risk pregnancy. And at the same time, you needed someone that you can trust and someone not even trust, but at least you know.
Yeah, she had skills, that's true. But still,
And maybe they believe time changed people.
I think he did believe in that. That's the
I
reason
don't know.
why
The
he
way
married
he
her.
remembered things versus the way Maeve remembered things, it was very clear that, memory is a very subjective thing sometimes. We live the same events, but we remember them very differently. I mean, it clearly shows from the way he never hated Andrea the way Maeve did.
He was, yeah, indifferent towards Andrea, even that he was hurt by her so much. I think way more than Maeve.
And the same thing with Fluffy. Maeve was very happy that Fluffy popped back into their lives. He was not. He resisted
Mm,
even seeing Fluffy when Fluffy got in touch the first time.
mm,
He
mm,
didn't want to see her at the beginning. He was like, she's the one who hurt me when I was a child. That's it. We're done.
mm.
While Maeve was like, no, no, she was just a young kid like us at
Yeah,
once.
which was true. But let's go to the mom actually.
Oh God, I hated that
The
woman.
most disliked character in this book.
And
And
ironically, she's a saint. How ironic.
that's the whole thing. When you know about like how she married the dad, like she was going to be a saint or a priest or whatever. Um, and then he came,
A
spoke nothing.
nunnery, I mean.
Yeah, whatever. That, yeah. She was going in a different path
Yeah,
in her life. And then he came, spoke no word to her. She went with him, started a family, but
and
then
that's it.
it was too much for her to embrace a new life and fit into it. Like having a big house and having a,
Especially when he became rich, yeah.
yeah. I
She
think,
was struggling.
and she was the only person alive from her family. It's like, it's too much. You have kids, you leave them to go and help other kids. That does
That's
not.
the part I did not understand. But again, at the end, they tell you maybe saints are universally hated by their families because they're saints.
Could be.
That's a possibility. That's a possibility.
Yeah, I like that. But also, the other thing is, Maeve was so thirsty for her mom-daughter relationship and love that she forgot everything. And he kept remembering what his dad, not in his life, or but what Fluffy and the other servants told him that if their mom comes back, Maeve will die. And that's why he stayed after her stroke.
Maeve got sick before because she left, and Maeve will die if she comes back. Yeah.
Yeah. And so basically, he was worried. That's why he stayed with them for a while. And then what happened is his wife was like, it's okay. They're living their life. They are okay with each other. So just leave them and come back. And as soon as he left them and went back to his family, Maeve died. And so that
I
was the
know.
first
Yeah.
thing that happened to him. First thing, if the mother comes back, the Maeve would die. And that what was happening. The
At the end of the
whole
book,
thing,
yeah.
the mom and Andrea, that relationship of her trying to be there for Andrea, who kicked your kids, who mistreated them
I
because
don't
she
understand
wasn't.
that.
That's, I
And
don't.
like how when they went to the house
She
and the mom
insisted.
said, hold on, and how she insisted, and then she said, look at the three of us undone by a house. It's insane. And I was like, well, technically, yeah, the three of you were undone by the house. That's true. But how would you be a willing participant into your kids going back into that, walking back to that trauma? And especially like when Andrea stopped, slamming the glass of the
Mm,
door,
yeah.
and then she hang out to Danny, thinking he's the dad, and I was
Yeah.
like, it didn't really ever felt to me like she was in love with the dad. Why would she?
Not until that moment.
Exactly. To me, I was like very a little bit struck, and I was like, she was through the entire book, she never, not once, felt to me like she's in love with the dad. She's in love with the house, and she got the house. But
Mm.
in her old age with dementia, and she sees Danny, and she thinks he's his dad, and she goes and she's hold on to him that way. To me, that was just very bizarre. But again, it kind of made me feel a little bit better because it kind of gave Maeve her revenge.
I don't see it from,
Karma.
it's
Karma of some
definitely
sort.
karma. It is definitely it. But
And
what,
for Maeve to see that karma, because if the mom didn't ask them to go into the house, and knock on the door, Maeve would have never witnessed Andrea looking like that.
Yeah,
So
that
in a way, the mom did Andrea a favor before she died.
that's true. The other thing would be one, and I think it's not only like I dislike the mo mother's character, but and her trying to idolize Mother Teresa, uh, which was a big character in our childhood. I mean, regardless of where she was in the world, we were following her news everywhere she went. So I think that whole thing, the revenge of like how Andrea turned out, was actually the reason of Maeve letting go of her life. I think it's like,
Damn, I didn't think about it that way. Oh shit, that
you
could be true.
like her
Yeah.
health was not good at all, but she kept fighting back because she did not see the end of their life and how things would be better. Even
Hmm.
with Danny
She
becoming,
hold on to that. She hold on
yeah,
to the vengeance and the anger
yeah.
of what happened to
And
her
so
and
when she
Danny.
saw that Andrea was suffering and she saw that everything was left as is, and she took her finally her painting from the
Portrait, yeah, and gave
portrait.
it to May. That was cute.
It was like little May. Yeah, it was like at that point she could let go of everything that was holding her in life. So it's not actually the mother, her return, but then it also could be that the mother decided to let go of Maeve again
To
to
go
go
to Andrea.
take care of
So
Andrea.
that's how I felt. I felt like Maeve might
She was
have just died of
disappointed.
a broken heart
I think so
because the
too.
mom again picked someone else over her, and for that someone else to be Andrea.
That's a plausible thing. Yeah.
That's a broken heart syndrome if I ever seen one.
Yeah.
And but they never like they don't really go in any kind of details. All they have here is a phone call between the mom calling Danny and tell him Maeve died, and that's it. And he's
How
like
old
calls an
she
ambulance, and she's like,
was.
"Oh, Danny, that's it." You kidding me? That's it? Like, tell me a bit more about her
So cold.
final days. I want to know.
She was so cold. And it's like, it's not her child that died. And she went back to taking care of Andrea regardless, and that's it.
Not even the writer. Like, I wished if Anna gave me a little bit more description of Maeve's final days. How it happened? Did that happen in her sleep? Was she driving? Like, was she at work?
No,
I
I
mean,
don't
she
think
went
so.
into details of everything else. Why
But
about that?
I think that's the event of the book that like it leaves you in shock. And like at some point I felt like the book was done.
Right,
That was
same
it.
here.
Maybe
And
like,
then
that's it.
the only line I might liked at the end was do hold on, I wrote it down. Where was it? Do house ever die of grief?
Ooh, that one. Ooh.
That line, I was like, do houses ever die of grief? And I was thinking about that one because when they walked into the house, they expecting it to degrade with time, like everything else supposed to, but the house stayed exactly the same, and how much that shocked them. And I was like, okay. And how Danny, I don't remember who asked that question, but one of them asked, and it's like, do houses die of grief?
Maybe Maeve
I don't
asked,
remember who asked. I think Maeve asked that question to Danny, if I'm not mistaken, after they both left the house and waited for their mother in the car.
and for the first time they were smoking. Like
Yeah, again.
again, yeah, for first time in a while they were like it was a moment where everything was shaken in their memory, everything like a moment of victory, revenge.
But it felt hollow. It
Yeah.
felt like a hollow victory.
Yeah. Because
I,
it
I, I was like,
then something else, Norma, the sister.
I think that's the only good thing that came out of this book is that the Norma got reconnected with Maeve and Danny. because Maeve especially always felt bad that she left the girls behind and she never got to say goodbye. And she
Mm.
left them in that house with that horrible mother.
She felt bad for that, and then we see how Norma was basically
Pediatrician.
pushed to study in medical school as well because Danny did medical school.
Danny felt bad about that. Danny's the one
Yeah.
who felt bad.
Not Maeve, that's true. But then, why didn't Norma, when she grew up and she went to San Francisco, I believe, to work there, why didn't she try to connect with them again?
I
She
think
was
both
sorry
the
for what
girls, even
happened.
her sister became a yoga instructor in Canada and just never came back.
Yeah.
I think the sisters, as soon as they could, they ran away,
And
just
never looked.
like exactly, because they needed to get away from Andrea. That's how horrible of a human being that woman was.
But her ending was, yeah.
Karma, karma, karma.
And Andrea dies, and the house goes back to the Conroy.
I know, and then like I loved how it came full circle at the end that May, Danny's daughter, end up become a big movie star and buying the house. She fell in love with the house, asked Norma to keep the house for a couple of years until she had enough money, and she
Hmm.
goes back and she buys the house. And I love how that's like the ending of the book. That's how the whole thing came full circle.
And that's a
It's a
big thing for Norma to do. It's a big
no,
thing.
not really, because after Andrea died, everybody was like Danny says that everybody was wondering what to do because if they tear down the house and redevelop the land, they will get much more money. But because everybody had this love-hate relationship with the Dutch house, they weren't so sure that's the best course of action. And then May enters the conversation, falling in love with that house, with every detail of the house, and begs Norma and Danny to keep it until she has enough money to buy it and keep it exactly as it is. To me, that's just sweet. I don't
That's
know.
but that's what I'm saying. What Norma did is a big gesture because keeping a house, like
I don't
paying
know. There's
taxes
so much other money, but
in
yeah,
the
but
no,
you
in
need
the
to
US you
remember it
pay
was a
lots
lot
of
of
taxes. Paying taxes for 2 years on a house that you don't love that much just for May to put everything together and buy it. That's a big gesture. Honestly, she
again,
outdid
there was
herself
a
in
lot of
that
money. There were millionaires. You keep forgetting that Danny's father was a millionaire at the
at
standards of
that
that
time.
time. He left the company, all that money, he left it for Andrea and her daughters. So
And
technically,
she
they
was a
did have the
doctor
money.
too.
No, Norma was a doctor too, so she had more than enough money to keep the house.
Mm. But I would like to believe that she did it out of like
Out
pain.
of generosity. No, no, she definitely did it out of generosity because she felt, because to me, it felt like she knew how horrible her mom was to Maeve and Danny.
Hmm.
And she knew that in truth, that house didn't really belong to her. That house was Danny's and Maeve, and it belonged to their kids.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
she knew it. She felt more like she's taking care of the house for them more than she actually owned it. And she had
Hmm.
more than enough money. She didn't need it. And if
All
it
the money
meant,
went to them.
yeah, and
Her-
if it meant, keeping the house and give it and, sell it to May means that she keep Maeve and Danny in her life, that's nothing.
That's true too. Yeah. So full circle. And
Full
full
circle,
circle, the house becomes alive again, and ballroom with parties and everything. I love the end of it.
right? Especially when
That's
May smokes in outside in the garden and Danny thinks it was Maeve
yeah. And then
because
she
of the
quit.
similarity.
I quit, and that's it. And she holds her dad and goes. I felt like, it's like letting go of something precious. Like I loved the narration and I loved reading and
Beautiful.
listening at the same time. I loved that. and I felt like it was a moment of peace. Everything was perfect, and I at some point, I told you I was so hooked to the narration in addition to the book that I would listen to it while driving to pick up my daughter. So I would like be with my husband and he's like, "What is this book?" He got interested because of the narration. I was like, "We need to listen to more books by Tom Hanks."
Yeah, this is for me, I would describe it as the perfect book if you want to chill, calm down, and yet get into a warm story
Yeah.
of a beautiful house and how a family who lived in it came full circle between having everything and losing it and having it again altogether. And
Yeah.
and it's such a calming book without being boring. To me, that is a hard thing to achieve. A
It was
very, very hard thing to achieve. But
it was
Ann Patchett managed to achieve that elegantly. I would say that that book, if I
oh,
describe it, I'll describe it as an elegant historical fiction, if I ever read one, with beautiful, beautiful narration
yeah.
and amazing scenery. Even the way she described Philadelphia, she described New York. I felt
Brooklyn.
like I was there. I was walking in Brooklyn in the mid 60s. It was just nice and like I said, very calming.
I think it was
Um,
a perfect pick for the last book of the year. Not last book we read, but
but it's last book
perfect
of
as
24, yeah.
yeah, 2024 for Across Ocean.
And
Yeah,
we're starting this year with a bang. We're starting this year with Onyx Storm.
with a storm. Literally.
Exactly.
I love this book. Um, I think this is among the best, the second best I read in the year. There were a few of them, um, but for me it was, I don't know how to say it, but it was really,
We should pick another book by her at some point
yeah,
this year. I feel like I would like to read another book written by Anne just
I
because of her
would.
style.
I would. I don't know, but I feel like, it's you don't miss the characters as much, like this is the type of I'm okay with the characters going away, out of my life, but I feel good about the book,
Exactly.
about the
It
time
doesn't
I
leave
spent
you with a
reading it.
void.
Yeah, it's like they don't leave that much of a void, but they
Leave you with satisfaction
definitely
that the
exactly.
story came to a natural conclusion that was and it took you through a journey that was very fulfilling.
I don't feel like I I regret the time that I spent reading this or listening to
No,
it.
no, not 1 minute. No,
You know
I
what I
enjoyed it.
would I would listen in the drive way to school or back home and then come back and listen again while reading on the books. Double read it basically. Um, it was good. It was good. And then for the first part of the book, I kept looking at the cover. I'm like, when we will basically see the painting, did Andrea destroy it or not? And the whole thing about the painting, I felt mesmerized by it every time I pick the book just to look at it, you know?
I know. And then when I realized that this is a painting of Maeve, I was like, every time I see the book on the shelf, like, wow,
Yeah.
Maeve and her red coats and that painter.
Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway, that was a
that
fun
was
session.
a good thing. I'm so happy that we did this. We will start recording our sessions.
Hopefully, maybe we get a few more members through the way,
Yeah.
along the way.
I like you and I discussing more than anything.
Honestly, it's the best part of the whole book club thing.
Yeah. I love it and I want to thank you for this pick and I can't wait for the next session.
Onyx Storm. I believe Onyx Storm is gonna be much lively and angrier session.
Yeah, I will not say anything right now, but I got the
Yeah,
pre.
you got the special edition.
Okay, that's a teaser for next time. Um,
Oh,
this is
so
not the part
pretty.
one. I pre-ordered it like long time ago when it first got announced
I remember because we pre-ordered it together, remember?
at the
We
same
pre-ordered
time.
it at the same time. Yeah, it's like what, 8 months ago or something?
Yeah, I think it was in August or July.
I don't remember,
Back
something
in
like
the
that.
summer.
Yeah.
And
But like the first edition here, the special editions here, they finished in the same day. I didn't manage to snag one. I only got a regular one. Well,
yeah,
thanks if
so
anybody watched this. Thanks for watching.
thank you for watching, everyone. See you in the next session.
And join us on Instagram, join us on social media. Let us know what do you think. And if you want to be a member, just send us a DM.
Yeah,
Welcome. Everybody's welcome.
everyone is welcome. Bye bye.